Module 1, Part 5. In fifth part of Module 1, we will be studying about challenges in community engaged research and ethical code of conduct for research. In the previous part of the module, we studied result of research, case study of culture of health, case of Malaita, and case study of Gram Sabha.
Now, there are challenges, whenever research is to be conducted, there are challenges in carrying out the research which is community based. Rather, I would say there are challenges in the research which is involving community in the research process. What can be the challenges? The challenges, first and foremost, challenge which everybody is aware of, engaging and maintaining community involvement. It is very difficult to address to a particular problem or to carry out a research process unless the community is not involved in the process. Whether it is a participatory action research, PAR, or whether it is a participatory based research, I mean community based participatory research. Whatever a methodology can be used, but it requires community involvement. If people are not involved with you, they would not support you in your research. And if they are not going to support you in your research, there may not be any solutions which can be resorted to. So it is important that we need to get people into the rope, we need to pool people so that they can coordinate with the research process. Another challenge is overcoming differences between and among academics and community. This is widely seen. There are certain objectives of the academic representatives and there are certain objectives of the community members. There may not be every time a balance between the objectives of the academics and the community people. The objectives may not match and hence it is difficult to bring them on the same plane. Then again, working with non-traditional communities is very difficult, where people are more based on the practical knowledge, where they don't believe on the society as a norm, and it becomes difficult to bring them into one cluster. Again, that is a challenge. Initiating a project with a community and developing a community advisory board is a challenge again, to help the policy to be put into place as a result of a research process. It is difficult that people come on the same plane and agree to some policy matter, and hence there may be conflicts in designing the advisory board, in designing the community advisory board, leading to the confirmation of the output of the results as a policy. Competing priorities and institutional differences has been a challenge again, as I have already talked about. Now, how these challenges can be addressed? I got few examples which say that these challenges can be mitigated or these challenges can be addressed by the researchers, how they have been able to do that. For example, there is a challenge of engaging a community in a drug trial. For example, if a company wants to go with the clinical drug trial, though how it can promote that these human subjects can be involved at large. So the actions for this particular problem were in the form of inviting key partners or key or the prime community members into the team, communicating with them what is the importance of the drug trial. So when I say prime members, I mean the grocery shopkeeper or some agent who is having a primary role in the community, like health store, healthcare providers, different families, head start teachers, teaching assistants, food service providers. All of these are seen to be the prime community members, where they sit in the between of the community, transact with the community every day on daily basis, can communicate the objectives of the problem uh, so that the community can be involved. Once these are involved in the research, the memorandum of agreement is signed with the help of these prime community members, they can sign the memorandum of agreement that the trials can be done. That is one way of community involvement for the community research. Another problem, another challenge is seen like how do you maintain community engagement during the whole research process? Because research is not a one-time process. It is a longitudinal aspect where it is done over a period of time. Therefore, for involving the community for a longer period of time is the biggest challenge, because people may show the withdrawal symptoms that they may not be interested to participate in your research anymore. So how can you help to avoid such kind of a challenges? Involving with them in the community meetings, in community events which are conducted on a regular basis, staying with them for a longer duration of time, say maybe a 6 months period, or more than 6 months period, so that the community members can affiliate themselves with the researchers and be able to communicate their problems with the researchers, and hence the researchers can involve them as human subjects for their research. So I got a question for you. If you can just help me to answer, how do you think on this? The question is, engaging the community in risk community tasks is challenging but possible. Answer is true or false? The answer is true, with the understanding of that if we involve multiple key stakeholders, though it is very challenging, but yes, it is possible. The last and the most important aspect of community research, engaged research, is maintenance of the ethics. How the ethics all through the research are required to be maintained. Now, ethics are to be presumed from two ends: from the end of the researcher, that is the academic person, and from the end of the subjects. Whenever any representative or organizational representative is asking for the participation of human subjects, there are ethical code of conduct which define that how human subjects should be treated. So these ethical code of conduct are required to be kept in mind. However, the aforesaid ethical code of conduct can change from one process of research to the other process of research. It defines that ethical conduct may vary from different types of research one is carrying out. So it falls under two categories, two general categories. One, those that present minimal risk to the participants, and the second, those that may subject participants to more than the minimal risk. So ethical code in both of the aspects is required to be kept in mind. From the point of the academics, the ethical research, university researchers, the ethics are expected in the form of respecting the community knowledge, sharing the data, whatever the data is collected from the community, that data should be shared with the people, involving the community in the research process and acknowledging them for their involvement, and be transparent about whatever the process has been carried out. So if these ethics are kept in mind and continuous community involvement is observed and continuous community engagement is seen in the research process, the problems which we have earlier seen in the second slide can be very easily addressed.
Therefore, in this part, we studied about challenges in community engaged research and ethical code of conduct for research. With this, we come to the end of module 1 of unit 5. In this module, we studied about the concept of community engagement, problems of community, strategies to resolve the problems. The module focused on how community problems can be resolved with the help of case studies. We also learned about challenges and how the challenges to community engaged research can be addressed. Towards the end, we also learned about ethical code of conduct to be maintained for community engaged research. In all, it talked about how problems of the community can be resolved by engaging community.
So I would like to conclude that a community is a socio-economic system The problems in the system can be addressed by providing solutions to it. The solutions can be provided by different research processes that can be on the basis of certain principles of the community engagement. Thank you.